In today's video, I'm going to be getting on with some plant chores. Summer has started today as I film this. It's summer solstice today and there are so many plant chores that need doing, so I thought today I would get a start on those. I'm going to be starting with my philodendron painted lady, and let's just have a look what we've got going on in the pot here. I haven't actually repotted this one since I bought it. I originally bought this one from Grow Tropicals. This is how it looked when I first bought it, and I've had it for 3 months now. So yeah, it's grown quite a bit actually. You can kind of see how small it was here, and yeah, it's grown really well for me, this one. So this is my first time repotting it since I bought it, and I figured it could probably do with a repot. And it does look like it's root bound there, so it's the perfect time to give this one a little bit more space. And I will be removing the soil from this one because I like to make sure that all of the potting mix is the same, just because then that means it won't dry out differently. If you have different kind of potting mixes with different drainage materials and things in them, they can dry out at different rates, and yeah, it just makes watering a little bit harder. So I always like to take the old soil off if it's my first time repotting a plant. This one isn't going to need too much of a bigger pot, so we'll just go up by one size, I think, just filling in around the edges there. This one actually does seem like it might need a bit of support. It's getting a little bit heavy, especially now I've disturbed it. It's not quite so anchored into the soil as it was before I repotted it, so I may have to do something about that. And so what I'm going to be doing with this painted lady is I'm actually going to be giving it one of these. This is bamboo sticks, because I don't really feel like it needs a full pole just yet. And what I do with this is, I'll just move that out of the way to show you, but I basically just buy these long bamboo sticks. They're quite long, a little bit too long as they are, so I just use this saw to basically saw it into the right length for my needs. So I've got a few here because I have a few plants to do, so I'm just going to find the correct kind of one for this plant in particular. It needs to go down, that one's a bit long, because it needs to go down into the soil but also provide a little bit of support. And of course this is only temporary whilst I wait for the plant to grow a bit more, but this one is seemingly needing a little bit of extra support, so I can just gently poke this one into the soil, and it's no bigger than, say, a moisture meter, so it's not going to damage the plant at all. And it just means that I don't have to have a big clunky pole until the plant gets a little bit bigger. And my plan is hopefully to kind of just... There are 3 plants in this pot. 2 of them are a little bit bigger because the internodal spacing on this one is quite tight, so it's probably not going to grow to the top of this too fast. So I'm going to be using these twist ties. These are quite good because they're quite secure, but they're also gentle as well. They're soft. I'll probably only need 1 or 2 of these. I'm not going to tie the very smallest plant to it because it's still very small, but the 2 bigger plants in the pot, I'm going to tie those to it if I can. I think I need a longer piece of this. I'll save that one for the next plant. The stems on this one are quite thick actually. I'm not sure whether maybe using tie string would be better in this case. Let's give it a go. I think if I make it a bit longer, that should be okay. I'm going to just tie the very bottom part on there. Hopefully that will just give it a little bit of extra support as it grows. Because it's not really standing upright too much on its own at the moment. Now that I've repotted it, it's got a bit heavy, so this will just give it that little bit of extra support that it needs. And as I say, this is only a temporary solution, so I'm not going to leave it like this. It's just to help it whilst it grows. And now it can just sit upright a bit without kind of falling so much. But hopefully that's going to do the trick. I might need to do it just a little bit tighter. I don't want to do it too tight that I harm the plant, but at the same time I want it to be secure. That's better, that's a little bit tighter there. Okay, I think that will do it for now. I'll just check it's not too tight. And it's just standing up a bit more now, and it doesn't look too unsightly because it's just a small stick there, and it still has a fair way to go before it gets taller. Once it gets to kind of the height of this, it'll probably need repotting again anyway, so what my plan is to just wait until it grows a bit more, and the next time I pot it into a bigger pot, that's the point at which I'll put a pole in, because it will be a bit more appropriate then, because the plant will be a bit taller. I'm just trying to avoid having loads of coir poles all over the place that are, I mean, they are a bit unsightly if I'm honest, until the plant kind of grows over them. So I thought this way I could, you know, give the plant the support it needs, but wait a little bit so that it's not quite so unsightly for me aesthetically. I think that works for both of us. I've done the right thing for the plant, but also for me and my space. I want my space to feel good and look nice, and yeah, so it's a bit of a compromise so that I can give the plant the support it needs whilst it's growing, but also make sure that I don't have a lot of ugly poles sticking up all over the place. Next, I'm going to be repotting my Syngonium albo. I've had this one, I think, for about 7 months. I actually bought this one in November of last year, and of course it didn't really grow much during the winter months, and so this is my first growing season with it. So I just want to give it a little bit more space and refresh its potting mix. It is actually already in my potting mix because I have already repotted it once. It's not severely root bound, as you can see. It's just got its roots starting to circle the bottom, so I'm just giving it a slightly bigger pot because it's a Syngonium and I know that they grow pretty quickly, so I just want to give it that little bit of extra space whilst we're in the growing season to make sure that its growth doesn't slow down, just to give it a bit of extra room to grow. But this one's been doing pretty well. It's been growing pretty good for me actually this season. It was only a small plant, so it still is fairly compact, but it is growing pretty well. I find that most plants don't tend to kind of get into their swing until the second growing season, so I don't know if it will actually take off and get huge this year, but certainly next year I would expect that to be its year, if that makes sense. I usually find that a new plant for me takes off on its second year, sometimes even its third year. So yeah, it's just a case of playing that waiting game really whilst it grows. Okay, so that's that one done, and I've put it in this pot for now. Not sure if I will keep it in this pot, but it's the only one it fits in at the moment. That's the problem when you repot plants. The pot that you had them in, that was perfect for them, it no longer fits, so I guess I just have to see it as an opportunity to buy more pots, but that's looking really good. It has a little bit more space to grow now. I'm seeing so much new growth on this one, and I'm really excited to see it grow. I hope that it grows a little bit faster now that it has a little bit more space. That's the plan, but yeah, that's a job well done, because I find that syngoniums tend to really outgrow their pots very quickly. I don't know if you've also had that experience. There are certain plants that outgrow their pots root-wise much more quickly than others, and syngoniums definitely seem to need repotting a little bit more often. Next up, I'm going to be repotting my philodendron Prince of Orange. This one is kind of really slowed down, so I think it might be root bound. I've actually had this one for 18 months. This is it in January 2024, and I wouldn't say it was the fastest growing philodendron, but it's certainly grown a lot since I got it, especially when you see it here in comparison. It has got a lot more leaves, and they definitely have got a bit bigger, but it's certainly not the fastest growing one. It also has orange roots, which is really interesting. And yeah, it's definitely root bound, so that explains why this one has slowed down a bit on the growth. So hopefully this will give it a little bit more room to grow and it be able to start flourishing again. I probably left it a little bit too long really to repot this one. I'm a bit behind this year with my repotting, just because, you know, life happens and stuff's been going on, but I'm now trying to catch up, so hopefully this philodendron will appreciate its new home and grow nicely for me. It is, I have to say, one of the easiest philodendrons that I've got. I mean, most philodendrons are easy, but this one, it is super hardy. And yeah, there we go, nice new pot for that one. I'm going to do a similar thing with this Begonia maculata because it's getting quite heavy, as you can see, but this definitely does not need a coil pole. A stake will do this one, but again, I don't want to have something that's massive because I don't want it to look weird, so I'm choosing a fairly small one for this one, because the good thing about this is it's really easy to replace as and when I need it, and I can also recycle these smaller ones for smaller plants, so it's quite a good solution, I think. So I'm just going to stick that. This is really just to give this plant a little bit of extra support, and you won't notice it too much because it's, with it being a cane begonia, it's kind of got a cane-like structure anyway, so I think this is quite a good solution. With this one, I think because it's quite a fine plant, it's not quite as thick as the Painted Lady, I'm going to use the string, the twine for it instead. So this is the twine that I'm using, and this will suit this plant better because, as I say, it's got kind of finer stems, so I don't really want to be having a really thick tie. But it's really important to tie these quite securely because they do come undone quite easily, I find. I've tried using these before on bigger plants and eventually they end up coming undone if you're not careful to really tie them a little bit tighter. Let's see how I'm going to do this. There are quite a few canes in the pot, so I think I'm going to do 2 with one twine and then 2 with another twine, rather than all of them at once. I guess I'll go up about halfway, I think. I want to be careful I don't trap any leaves in there. And then of course as this grows I can just add a longer one, and that should be pretty easy to maintain, I think, because this one doesn't grow aerial roots, so it's not going to root into the pole or anything like that. This is just solely for support so that it's not just hanging all over the place. I haven't tied it right up against the cane, but I've left a little bit of slack on there, but not too much. Okay, that's better. And then I just cut off the excess there. So if I turn it around like that, already it's looking a lot better. It looks fuller because the leaves are tighter together. But I still have two smaller canes to tie to the canes, so we're going to just do that. I think there's 4 in here, yeah, 4, so that'll be all of them then. These ones are a bit smaller, so I've got 2 tall ones and then 2 slightly smaller ones. So let's tie those slightly smaller ones. Again, just want to be really careful I don't damage any leaves. Where's that going? And I'm actually quite amazed that this is still alive at the moment. I've mentioned before that I've never been very good with begonias, and I was quite nervous about whether I would be any good with this one, but it seems to be working out. Maybe because it's an established plant, it's a little bit more hardy. So far so good. Okay, so I've very gently tied those on, and again I'm just going to leave a little bit of slack as well so it's not too tight. I'm just going to also cut off a few of the older leaves that need to go. I think that one can go as well. There we go. Give it a tidy up. And there we have it. It's looking a lot better. I think this is probably the side that was facing the light because most of the leaves are facing that way. Next up is philodendron Jose Bueno, and I've had this one for about 5 months. This is how it looked when I first got it. This is in January, and I got this one from Grow Tropicals, and as you can see it was much smaller than it is now, and it really has grown very fast. I've been really pleased with this one. This is definitely one of my favourites at the moment. It really is thriving, and yeah, I've already repotted it once. I can't remember how long ago that was, but I want to do it again because it feels like it's starting to slow down a bit on the growth, and it's not severely root bound, so I'm only going to give it a slightly bigger pot. But this should hopefully take it through then until the rest of the growing season, so it has just a little bit more space there to grow. And I imagine I probably won't repot this one again then until next year. Hopefully that's the plan. But yeah, this one definitely needed a support pretty early on because of how fast it's growing, and it is quite a heavy plant too. It's definitely sizing up as it grows. So yeah, let's give this one a bit more space, and it's going to be really exciting to carry on seeing this one grow and see how many leaves it has by the end of summer. So that's my Jose Bueno repotted, and this one really is turning into a beast now. I can't really get it in shot. I can't actually believe how much this one has grown. It has to be one of my fastest growing houseplants, and look at that new leaf, it's huge, so shiny. So hopefully now I've given it a little bit of extra room, that won't slow its growth down at all. I really don't want this one to slow down. I want it to grow to its full potential this season, and we'll see where we are with it next year, but definitely so far it seems to be a really fast grower. It's currently putting out a new leaf, and I keep on checking it several times a day because it does come out pretty fast, and every new leaf with this one is really exciting. So whenever I see it putting out a new one, I get really excited. Next up, I'm repotting my philodendron atabapoense, and I haven't repotted this since I bought it. I've had this the same time as my Jose Bruno. I bought them at the same time. This is how it looked 5 months ago. This was in January, and so yeah, it's had about 5 months, but bear in mind, obviously, it's been winter for some of that. So I wouldn't say this was the fastest growing philodendron for me, but it's definitely doing well and it's thriving and it is putting out new leaves. It's just a little slower than some of the others, but it looks like we have some really good roots there. It's on its way to being root bound. I wouldn't say it was severe yet, but they're certainly starting to come up to the top there, so it definitely needs a bit more space. I really do love this plant. It has everything I love about philodendrons. It's got that silvery blue colour, and yeah, it's just a really easy plant too. I found this one to be really low maintenance. I am removing the soil with this one too. As I said before, this is the first time I've repotted it, so I want all of the potting mix to be the same so it dries out evenly. And I'm not giving it a massive pot, of course. I'm only going at one size, so I don't want to be putting the plant at risk of root rot, so I don't like to go up too big. But yeah, hopefully this one should appreciate its new pot. I'm not going to give this one any support yet because even though it will need support eventually, I don't feel it's necessary at the moment because it's a fairly slow growing philodendron. But if that changes, then I certainly might consider giving it a stake to help it. But yeah, lovely new pot for my philodendron atabapoense, and it's all set up now. Hopefully this won't need repotting again until next year. So this one really did need repotting. It was very root bound, and we've got this lovely new little leaf coming out at the moment. It's on its way out. I just love the red colour on this one as it comes out. It's beautiful. But again, this is one that I'm really excited to be growing, and this is actually the first time I've repotted this one since I actually bought it. So yeah, I'm really in love with this one. I'm really glad I got it, and it's not one you hear a lot about either. I don't tend to see it that often on YouTube and stuff. I don't know about you, but yeah, I think it's really beautiful, and the fact that it has the red backs of the leaves, but also it's kind of got a silvery blue tone to it. I don't know if it shows up very well on camera, but yeah, it's definitely getting bigger, and yeah, that's really good to see. So I think that's going to be it for my plant chores today because I am really hot. Summer really has started today and it is boiling. I think we may even have a little thunderstorm brewing, which is great because I love thunderstorms. So I'm going to go cool down, and yeah, I hope you got some plant chores done too, or maybe you just chilled out. Whatever you did, I really hope you enjoyed the video, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.